right. Yes, my door is closed, so my boyfriend doesn't have to overhear me. First of all, I think I deleted or made private the first live that I was able to do from my mobile phone. But for some reason now on YouTube, I'm able to go live from my cell phone. Woohoo! I don't, yeah, I don't know if it'll be able to be public, but I'm gonna give it a try because it's obviously more convenient, and I'm hoping the quality of the video is better. Although actually the quality of my desktop camera has been okay so far. Anywho, I have kind of fallen off into like shorts land on YouTube recently because they have been so fun to play around with. Highly, highly recommend trying shorts. I have gotten a ton, for me, a ton of new subscribers just from shorts, and it's been super easy to make them and super fun. Basically, you just need like 7 seconds of something interesting that catches your eye, and you can make an easy short. But anyway, the reason I'm on here today is I want to get back to making more videos and lives and practice getting better at this kind of content because I seem to be getting good at shorts, but so far I'm not really taking off on my long form content yet, which is totally fine. So today I want to share a book that I purchased and I'm gonna start reading. I actually have not started reading it, but I saw it on my bookshelf and I decided that I wanted to take a crack at it today. So just the first like couple of pages that I peeked at, I haven't even read it. I just looked at the table of contents and became inspired and thought, you know what? I'm gonna jump on and just share. Because, I mean, so basically what I'm gonna do in the next few minutes is share with you a little bit about what I'm discovering in this book, and hopefully it can inspire you the way it's inspiring me. I'll share right now too, and now that I have my phone, I bet you could do this easily. I created a shelf on my bookshelf that has like different parts of the shelf related to different areas that I'm exploring right now. So the top shelf is actually all the books that I'm selling on eBay right now. If you would like to know my eBay store, let me know because I have a ton of books and I try to sell them very affordably. I love books, and I want to like share books that I've enjoyed with people while hopefully making a few dollars while I'm unemployed. So that's my top shelf. And then the second shelf are books that inspire me around becoming an author. Then actually there's two shelves that do that. The top shelf is a little bit more geared towards making art for, oh, I'm lying, sorry. Half of it is making art and the right side is like children's books. And then the next shelf is like authors that inspire me and authors that I enjoy. And then there's another shelf. On the right side, there's things related to language because I've been a language teacher for a long time. And I still, even though I've stopped teaching, I'm still excited and interested in that topic when I see articles that are interesting or videos about language. So I like to stay connected there. And then the left side are kind of like, it's like my self-help shelf. So anyway, I'll just show you a quick peek. Ooh, this is so fun to be able to kind of seeing a little bit more of my office now. Yeah, so top shelf, these are my eBay selections currently for sale. These are some amazing children's books that inspire me, and these are all about kind of like being creative and making art. Here we have some other authors. Oh, I'm doing a terrible job, sorry. Other authors, and then anyway, long story short, that's my little bookshelf that I've organized by topic. And the reason I'm sharing that long rambling story is that I did this on purpose. I actually moved this bookshelf into my, what I'm now calling my studio, my office and studio, so that when I'm sitting here in my chair, I can kind of look over there and look up at titles that I've hung on to for a long time, but just hadn't had the time to read. So they were kind of just collecting dust. And these, anyway, love to read, and it's so great to be inspired. So this book I bought recently, maybe not that recently, like 3 or 4 months ago. And I just was sitting here today and it leapt off the shelf at me. And the biggest reason I love it is that it's very much in alignment with what I'm doing this year and probably just my style in general, which I've learned is like great. It's a part of who I am, and I can always kind of lean more into that style, and I can also benefit from other people's styles. But right now, I'm doing dream first and details later, and I just kind of wanted to share with you just before even reading the book, looking at the table of contents, how cool this book is, and it's making me happy and giving me energy and motivation to continue down my year of discovering a new career for myself. So I hope if you're someone who's thinking about switching careers, or maybe you're just wanting to have some fresh ideas in your mind, that you'll come along with me. It's funny what things inspire you. Just opening the cover. I love the inside cover. There's a name for this. I forget what it's called. But anyway, I just love all the colors. It's so inviting, and it just makes me feel creative just by looking there. Dream first, details later. It's published by Penguin, in case you want to know. And the author is Ellen Marie Bennett. And here she is. So cute. I love the energy on this page. Not only is that color yellow kind of like popping off the page, but I love that she's used a picture of herself and she's like moving, holding up her arm. She's actually jumping. So it's funny, but like I'm getting energy and excitement from this. So dream first, details later, how to quit overthinking and make it happen. Serial overthinker here. I'm very spontaneous, but I can also be an overthinker. So, and then her dedication. I always read the dedications in books. I think it's because I want to be an author someday, and I'm always just curious about authors, and I always feel like it's like a little personal piece of who they are and something really beautiful. Sorry, I feel like you're just seeing the Peloton in the background. It's not very exciting. All right, so I'm going to read the dedication that she wrote. This book is dedicated to my abuelita, mami, and my tias, the strong Mexican women who raised and taught me to show up, never give up, and fight for what's right. And to all the dreamers, that's me and you, doers and hustlers out there, anything is possible and everything is worth it. So just a really beautiful message. I was very close with my mom, who passed over 10 years ago and was an artist herself. And so I don't know, that message about dedicating it to the women that have come before you resonates so beautifully with me. And my grandmother just passed recently, and she was a force in my life and a force to be reckoned with. So I just feel her presence here now, just thinking about this. All right. Again, this is as far as I got, and I thought I got to jump on YouTube and share because this thing is amazing. Again, the colors are already giving me energy, giving me life. Love it. But let's just read these kick-ass chapter titles. So the prologue is, oh, it's interesting. Oh, the number. Okay. Those are the page numbers. The prologue says, start before you stop, which I love because, oh, sorry, I'm not licking my hair right now. I think you can talk yourself out of things. I know I do. And why? I see people all the time who have maybe an idea that I don't even think is that great. But you know what? They get out there, they do it, they hustle, and they make something of themselves. we can be so critical of, you know, our ideas and want them to be perfect. Don't stop before you even start and try something. So that's the prologue. And I'm assuming what she's going to say about these things. I don't know. It might be different when I actually read it. But just in her titles, she's reminding me of things that I believe passionately. Chapter 1, Crash and Learn. I definitely am in that mode right now. And it's been fun. Like, for example, on YouTube, I just started making videos. And it's fun to learn a lot as I make mistakes. Chapter 2, the first scary thing. I'm curious to know what that chapter is like, because so far I haven't felt afraid, but I feel like it's coming, and I wanted to come actually. Somebody told me recently, to set goals for myself that are scary. And sometimes I set goals for myself that feel comfortable. So chapter 2. Oh, sorry, I'm doing this too late at night for me. The first scary thing. Chapter 3, decide and do. That will probably be the best chapter for me, because making decisions can be hard. As someone who is a neurodivergent thinker, I always have 1,000 different ideas going on in my head. And so sometimes deciding which is the right one is tricky. For example, right now there is a job that I've been considering applying to, and someone I shared the idea with someone, and they kind of gave me a perspective, and now I'm like doubting myself. And I've been holding off on the doing part of that decision. All right, chapter 4, humble enthusiasm. I know I'm always making this about me. I apologize. I swear at some point this will be more like the videos I see on YouTube, where it seems like people are connecting with their audience and not just like doing a video log of themselves. But chapter 4, humble enthusiasm. I try to be humble, and I do think I usually have the enthusiasm part down. And again, I think that's just my neurodivergent thinking. I'm always excited about lots of things and curious about a lot of things. So, but the humble part isn't. Oh, I'm not always perfect at. So, another thing I'm just realizing as I look at these first, 4 chapters, I feel like they're just not too linear. Sometimes I open a book and it just is it's so what you would expect. So if the outside of the book was about like your first guide to investments and money, I think you can sort of imagine the way that someone would plot out and organize something, which is great. Like, that's an amazing skill, and I'm not taking away from anyone who does that. And at the same time, I like to be a little bit surprised. So I love that when I saw the title of the book, the concept interested me, but I had no clue the direction she was going to go with her chapter titles and chapters. So that's kind of cool. I'm already like hooked. Okay, chapter 5, keep going, keep creating. This is also speaking to me right now because I've been at this for about 2 months, and there is a little tiny voice that occasionally is like, what the are you doing? Go get a real job. You're nuts. You're not going to become an entrepreneur. You're not going to make money doing this. What are you doing? But I just keep ignoring that and keep going and keep creating. And I know it's going to land me somewhere. And we'll see where that is. All right. There's only one more page, so I'll keep reading them. Chapter 6 is they're not bumps in the road, they are the road. Ooh, I like that reframing. Chapter 7, stop, collaborate, and listen. First of all, if you know me, you know that I know a lot of the words to the Ice Ice Baby song. So I don't know when she was born, but I already feel like a kinship with her. And actually it's impressive because I usually cannot remember lyrics to save my life, but I know the tunes, so I'm good at karaoke, but I'm pretty good at Ice Ice Baby. So yeah, I have started some collaborations and they've been great actually. So I'm curious to see what she has to say about that. Chapter 8, getting off the bike to fix the bike. I feel like that's probably about like pausing, like time out, pause, whatever the train is that you're on, and taking the time to like fix something if it's not working and then restarting. I actually know quite a bit about bikes because the two most badass humans in my life, my friends Alexa and Laura, invited me to join them on a bike ride across the United States when we had just graduated from college, so we were in our early 20s. So yeah, random thought, but yeah, I can tell you a lot about bikes if you want to know. Ooh, that would make a good YouTube video. Oh my God, how did I not? I gotta write that down. Wait, I gotta write it down before I forget. You're watching the neurodivergence happen in real time. Oh my God. Finally got my idea. Let's see. I got it. All right. Chapter 9. Commandeer your co-pilots. Interesting. I don't have any co-pilots yet, but that's kind of cool to think about. Chapter 10 is TRUST, trust. Don't know what that will be exactly. Interested to know. And then there's an epilogue which says wake up and fight. And then she has her acknowledgments. So again, I didn't even read anything except what got me to buy the title was the book was the title, Dream First, Details Later. And I'm just on here today because the first few parts of her book, not even the actual book, are making me so happy right now. Look at that. You could almost like frame it and put it on your wall as encouragement. And her beautiful dedication, and then her great contents page. So yeah, just want to say shout out to Ellen Marie Bennett because even if I didn't read the book, I've already been inspired. So why don't we read the prologue? I like to read aloud. My dad is an incredible actor, and well, I should say that differently. He wanted to become an actor, and so he moved us from Texas to Los Angeles, and he worked in a variety of different roles in that industry. Sometimes they were acting jobs and sometimes they weren't. But anyway, he used to read stories to us at night, and he was great at reading aloud. And I'm not as good as he is by any stretch of the imagination, but I like to read aloud. It helps me think about what it is I'm reading, and also I think there's just something beautiful about like reading a book aloud and someone else is listening to it. Like audiobooks are amazing because you can hear the inflection in that person's voice. But I like the idea of a shared experience of, sorry, I'm tapping the cable, of like two or more people listening to a book together at the same time. I want my boyfriend to read like with me and like we take turns read a book aloud, but so far I have not gotten him to do that. I think that would be his worst nightmare because his brain goes at a rapid pace and I think he would be bored. All right, back to the prologue. Let's read the prologue together. Prologue, start before you stop. And again, I just want to share these gorgeous colors. They're really inviting and I love the shapes. It's so pretty. And look at how they like blend so nicely with this interior cover. I should know what the name of this is because I took a typography class in college. Hey, there's a girl. She's going to make us some aprons for the restaurant, said Chef Joseph, the head chef at Baco Mercat in LA. Oh, yes, my city. Do you want to buy one? That's this large, bold text on the left. That's how she started this epilogue, which is nice. Everything froze. Now I'm on the next page. I was a cook in Chef Joseph's kitchen, and I didn't know this apron supplier, but I knew I did not want one of her aprons. Oh my God, do I say something about my apron company? I mean, it's not really a company yet, but it will be. My aprons are going to make everyone who wears them feel like they matter. Oh, this is so cute. Look at me, I'm going back. That means that this adorable apron that she's wearing is the company that she created. I am in love with this book right now. They'll make them feel like the amazing cooks and artists and makers that they are. I'm gonna have to get an apron. I already wanted to get one anyway for art making. We all hate wearing these cheap, shitty, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on Instagram, YouTube, scratchy aprons that fit about as well as a hospital gown. This is my chance. The opportunity boat is sailing by. I have to get on it. Chef, I have an apron company, I said, taking a liberty with the verb tense. I will make you those aprons. What are you talking about? Chef Joseph said, giving me his steady, inquisitive look that I knew so well. You're a line cook in my kitchen. It was a fair point. I was a line cook in his kitchen, standing at my station, chopping vegetables. I have an apron company, Chef. I started it recently. I would love to make you those aprons. I can totally do it. What is she charging you? What is she making them out of? What's her turnaround? I can do it faster and better. She said it's gonna take 6 weeks, excuse me. I could tell by his tone. Oh God, sorry. I could tell by his tone that he was not too jazzed about that timeline. I'll do it in 4, I said. Yeah? He said. Yeah, for real, I said. I've already been working on it. Well, I'd been talking to my coworker Kevin about it, and I had actually just filed for a DBA, or doing business as, oh God, I'm so excited to when I'm able to get to that point. It's exciting just to think about it. Which is the very first step in registering a company. So it felt real enough, at least to me. But as for a company, that was pretty much all in my head. I understand you, girl. I didn't have a design. I didn't have a pattern. I didn't have fabric. I didn't know where to buy fabric. I certainly didn't know how to run a company, nor did I have the infrastructure or even know anyone with a sewing machine yet. I had no idea how long it would take to do any of this, let alone all of it. But I was damn well going to try, and I was gonna get it done. Okay, all right, cool, Chef said. WTF, really? If I screwed up the aprons, I'd probably lose my job. Not to mention that I respected Chef Joseph to the moon and back, and I didn't want to mess this up. I could not let him down with an all caps not. At the end of the night, I clocked out and called Kevin to tell him that we had a 40-unit order, even though our last conversation had been about early days decisions, like finding fabrics and a pattern and what we'd call the company. My dream to make aprons had sprung from an observation of this thing that would happen at the end of a shift. The kitchen staff would change out of their work uniforms and come back in to grab their stuff, looking and carrying themselves like totally different humans. In their civvies, civilian clothes, after work, or when I ran into them at the farmer's market on Sundays, they looked like real people with way more pep in their step and generally more at ease. And by they, I mean we. Because in our standard issue aprons, which were either rented from a linen service or bought as cheaply as possible, we looked like we didn't matter. They were all but made. I'm so sorry. They were all but made of flimsy paper masquerading as fabric. They were so basic, they often didn't adjust around the neck or have useful pockets for our tweezers, pens, or Sharpies, or if they did, they tore off with the slightest tug. At the night's end, we tossed them aside, the feeling of disposability still clinging to us. And that had to change. Does everyone in the kitchen feel so shitty before they look so shitty? What if they had a uniform that didn't make them feel like cogs in a wheel? Which is just a page and a half left. In between slamming out orders on the line, Kevin and I would brainstorm ideas, which I'd jot down and stuff into my recipe book right next to my cooking notes. Oh, another idea. My dad reading stories. That's a good idea. My pockets for inspiration, blah, 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 blah. Okay, for inspiration, all I had to do was look down at my own mangled apron. My pockets always got caught on the handles of the low boy refrigerators and ripped off with the floppy fabric left dangling. In between orders, I'd draw a sketch for a new style of pocket that had reinforced corners to stand up to the mayhem of kitchen work. Okay, what do you think about this apron? I'd ask Kevin. We'd have a quick exchange while he cooked up the Wagyu beef or whatever protein he was responsible for that night. And then, like a hummingbird, I'd flit back over to my kitchen station. He was much more introspective and liked to analyze everything. That's my boyfriend. So between us, we created a good balance. I just want to put it out there that I would like to meet this author someday. So much of who she is resonating with me. Okay. Once again, however, Kevin and I had no plan, no supplies, and no manufacturing process. Now we had 4 weeks to get all of those things. Under these circumstances, I could have easily fallen into 2 states of disaster. 1, I could have been so lost about how to proceed next that I ducked my head into my turtle shell and waited for it all to go away. What have I gotten myself into? I don't know if I can do this. This seems nuts. Or 2, I could have tried to plan out every single detail of this company before moving forward with this process and overanalyzed every step that we had to take so that the entire production turned into a tangled mess of missed due dates and failed plans. Instead, I chose progress over perfection and went with a method that had always carried me through before. Decide to do it. Try, fail, learn, hustle, go try again, and keep going relentlessly. This is a quality I have. I am persistent and I don't mind failure. So this is making me happy right now. From an early age, I'd been leaping off many precipices without looking down. Now that is not me, so I'm inspired to learn about that from her. From repainting almost every room in my mom's house while she was at work and without permission, which she later told me calmly and quietly was nice, to taking over, there are more pages, just kidding, taking over the family finances as a completely green high schooler. Oh shoot, I think my live is gonna cut off. It's gonna cut off because I have a timer on my phone. Fudge. Well, we'll see how far we get. To taking over the family finances as a completely green high schooler because my single mom was stressed about money. I figured out checkbooks and budgeting along the way. Resilience equals war wounds plus stamina. Not that I always stuck the landings, far from it. As I'd already learned, mistakes are quite literally unavoidable, especially when you're running fast. But I realized that as long as I was in motion and in action mode, I'd figure it out eventually. Oh, this is much longer than I thought it was going to be. But look at these cool things coming up in here. Okay, what are the elements that we need to make aprons? Well, we needed a pattern, fabric, sewers, and to lasso any of that, we needed money and the bones of a plan. I was making $10 an hour as a line cook, minimum wage back then. So I wasn't earning quite enough to fund a whole manufacturing venture. I asked Chef Joseph for a deposit and he agreed to pay me half up front, which was around $750. We supplemented that nest egg with $500. It still wasn't much to launch a company. I didn't even own a sewing machine or know how to use one. Okay, I feel a little bit better because I'm kind of in the same state. But I knew what I wanted to make and roughly how I wanted them to be. Now we needed some helping hands, and we needed them yesterday. Kevin thought to introduce me to his friend, another Kevin. Kevin Carney owned the retail design business Mohawk General Store. It quickly became clear that he had the know-how to make a pattern. Hooray! I didn't know how much he'd charge, but I had a sense that it was more than we could afford. So I thought about what I had to offer in exchange instead of money. I have been in this place before too. Well, I work as a private chef and I'm a line cook at Baco Mercat and at Providence. And that's a 2-star Michelin restaurant. And people love a good meal. What if I barter food and meal for the other things I need for us to get this company off the ground? I cook at Providence, which is fancy. So I said to Mohawk General Kevin, I'm going to make you food and you make me the pattern. Deal? With his raised eyebrows radiating skepticism, but also curiosity, Mohawk General Kevin agreed. Sure, he probably thought I was a bit crazy and a lot desperate, but as long as I got my pattern, I didn't mind. I had an order to fill. And there's a little, another reason I'm already in love with her, because it looks to me like a sticky note.